Hello viewers, welcome to EduTube. In this lesson, we are going to learn conversion of fractions to decimals. To convert fractions to decimals, we could make use of two methods, and the first method, I call it multiplier method, and then the second method is basically the use of long division method to convert fractions to decimal. Now, before we use multiplier method to solve this our first example, it is important we understand what are decimal figures. Decimal figures is another way of writing fraction in which the denominator is 10 or times 10 or powers of 10. Now, looking at the denominator here, we will see that we could think of a number that will multiply 5 to give us either 10 or powers of 10, and that number is 2. So basically 2 is our common multiplier that we will use to solve this problem. So to use 2 as our common multiplier, we're basically going to say this 1 times 2 over this 5 times 2. And that will give us 2 out of 10. Now that we've given this fraction, we converted this fraction to such that the denominator is now 10 or powers of 10. Now the next thing to now convert it to decimal is to think of the numbers of zeros you have in the 10 or in the powers of 10. So we have just a 0. That means we are going to move just a place, or we are going to move just one place to our left side because we have 1 0 here. So our point is invisibly here. Our point is invisibly here. So we are going to move just one place to our left side because we have 1 0. So we are moving to the left side from our right side to our left side. That means our point stops here. So giving us 0.2 as our decimal figure. So we have rewritten 1 out of 5 successfully as a decimal figure, which is 0.2. Now you might ask the question that where does this 0 come from? Since a number must start with a whole number, and we have no whole number preceding this fraction, so basically our whole number is what? 0. Then the point after the 2, so 0.2, and then the point before the 2 rather. Now for second example, like we did in the first example, look at the denominator and think of a multiplier that will multiply 25 to give us 10 or powers of 10. Now of course 25 is greater than 10, so the next number or the next powers of 10 to consider is 100. So one number can multiply 25 to give us 100. Basically that number is 4. So our common multiplier is 4. So I'll basically just write 3 times 4 out of 25 times 4. So 3 times 4 will give us what? 12. And then 25 times 4, that will give us what? 100. So now in this we have 2 zeros. So having 2 zeros means that we will move 2 places from our right side to our left side. So moving 2 places from our left side to our left side, we are going to have 1 and then 2. So our point stops right after the point or right before the point. So we don't start a number with 0.12, so we must start with a whole number, and since we have no whole number, so that means our answer is 0.12. Our answer is 0.12. So that is that about using common multiplier or multipliers method. Now for the second example, using long division method, so we are basically just going to divide the numbers and naturally it will be converted into decimal. So to divide this number using long division method, 5 is our dividend, so 5 goes inside, and 6 is our divisor, 6 goes outside. So can 6 divide 5? That is typically impossible, so that makes it 0. And then we are going to place a point here. So then we are going to add 0 to the 5 to make it greater than 6. So now that we have 5 and 0, that makes it 50. So we're now then going to ask, since we now have 50 greater than 6, I'm going to ask now, so how many 6 goes in 50? Basically, the answer is 8. So I will then use my answer to multiply my divisor. So 8 times 6, that gives me what? 48. So I'm going to take away 48 from 50. I'll be left with what? 2. Then 6 cannot divide 2, so I'm going to add 0 again, just like I added to 5 to make it greater than 6. So I'm adding 0 to 2 again to make it 20 to make it greater than 6. So I will ask how many 6 goes in 20, and that is what? 3. So 3 times 6, that will give me what? 18. So I'm going to take away the 18 from 20. I'm going to have 2 again. So Now, so we repeat the step. So 6 cannot divide 2. 6 cannot divide 2. So I'm going to add 0 to it again to make it greater. So 6 and 20 again, I'm still going to get what? 3. 3 times 6, I'm still going to get what? 18. So we could see glaringly that this is a recurring decimal. That means we will continually get 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 to the end of the word. So this is a recurring decimal. So we are going to stop in the third decimal place. So our answer 5, therefore our answer 5 out of 6 has been converted successfully to 0.833. So in the second example, we are dividing 3 whole number, we are converting 3 whole number 1 out of 8, so using the same long division method. Now in this case, we are going to ignore the whole number. We are going to ignore the whole number and we'll put our focus on the fraction. So to convert this fraction, 1 will go inside and then 8, which is the divisor, will go outside. Now, so to divide it, the first thing I will ask, I will say how many 8 goes in 1? That is definitely impossible. So the impossibility will be translated to 0. So I'm going to write what? 0 and then put a point next to it. So now, because it cannot divide, so I'm going to add 0 to this one and that makes it 10, so that it can be greater than the divisor. Then I will ask how many 8 goes in 10? So that is definitely what? 1. So I will say 1 times 8 and that will give me what? 8. So I'll take away the 8 from the 10 and that will give me what? 2. Now again, can 8 go in 2? That is impossible. So I'm going to add 0 to this 2 to make it greater than 8, just like I did for 1 here. So now I'll ask how many 8 goes in 20, and that is definitely what? 2. So I'm going to say 2 times 8 and that will give me what? 16. So I'll take away the 16 from the 20. So I will have 4. Then I will ask again, can 8 go in 4? That is also impossible. So I'm going to add 0 again to make it greater than 8. So I will ask how many 8 go in 40? So that will give me what? 5. So then I will say 5 times 8 and that will give me 40. So I will say 40 take away 40 and that is 0. So now I've come to the end of the division, which is 0. So my answer is 0.125. But this isn't the end. Remember, we have a whole number attached to the fraction. So basically, the 0 that is the whole number here will be converted to 3, will be attached. So the 3 will be added to 0. So 3 basically plus 0, that is 3. So that means our answer, therefore, 3 whole number 1 out of 8 is therefore 3.125. So basically, we have successfully converted 3 whole number 1 out of 8 to a decimal figure. So that is that about conversion of fractions to decimals. If you are new to this channel, please kindly click on the subscription button below this video to get notified of my academic lessons like this. And if you are a returning subscriber, we say a big thank you for your love and support always. I'll see you in the next lesson.